Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter.
Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome back to another episode of the Now Review. And this time we're continuing our journey through the Now Dance series. We've had Now Dance 1985, Now Dance 1986, and no, I'm not missing 87 and 88. The next release was in fact Now Dance 89. It's not really known why Now didn't release a Now Dance for 1987 or 1988 because there's some great contenders for dance music in both of those years. But for whatever reason, they took a break and waited a few more years before this release. And I'm knocking the camera. 89 was really when, sort of, you could argue, like acid house, Italia house music in general, more dance-orientated music was coming into the mainstream. So maybe that's why they decided to make the album again. But let's take a look at the cover. You've got the classic Now logo, the red, blue, and green symbols there, which is very iconic. The dance and the 89, it's a bit generic. The 89's bumping up the C. Not sure why. Could have been any of those words, but it's a very interesting design. The background, as well, as you can probably see, is sort of a mishmash of various colours. All in all, is it a bad cover? Not really, but it could be a little bit more interesting, it could argue. And also on the side there of the D letter, you have the 12-inch mixes. So again, for anyone who doesn't know, back in the day when singles were released on 12-inch, you didn't just get the 3-minute radio edit, you got an extended mix. So it could have been 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and it could have been a remix and such like. So you've got 20 smash dance hits, and this is the first time in Now Dance that they didn't decide to put the whole track list on the front cover, as they did with the others. So if I just zoom in there, we'll see what kind of artists to expect today. So you're going to be expecting artists like Bobby Brown, Nina Cherry, Inner City, Soul to Soul, Fine Young Cannibals, Yaz, Beatmasters, Capella, Paula Abdul, and many more. A lot of names are very recognisable there. A lot of names were starting to come into their own in 1989. So if you give me a jump cut, we will flick to the back of the record and see just which 20 smash dance hits have made it. Okay, so here is the track list, the 20 smash dance hits, the 12-inch mixes. And the track list is styled pretty much how Now track lists were styled, same font and everything. So you've got My Prerogative by Bobby Brown, who really came into his own this year, especially with his debut album, and this song was huge. Buffalo Stance, Nina Cherry, still gets played today. Ain't Nobody Better by Inner City. I do prefer the song Good Life, which, that might be on the same album, I'm not sure, but they're a good group. Keep On Moving, Soul to Soul, their biggest hit was probably Back to Life. Joy and Pain by Maze, I'm not so much familiar with them. Don't remember that song. Funky Cold Medina by Tonlock, don't remember that one. Got to Keep On by the Cookie Crew. Who's in the House, the hip house anthem, the Beatmasters with Merlin. I can't remember how it is, but I've got a feeling it's sort of going to be a very tongue-in-cheek early house song. It's Time to Get Funky, D-Mob featuring LRS, and Turn Up the Bass by Tyree featuring Cool Rocksteady. Okay, that's a decent thing for the first record, so let's move on over to record 2, side 1. She Drives Me Crazy by the Fine Young Cannibals. That's a great song. You often find that popping up on like best of the 80s compilations. Interesting, it's not a remix. None of these have indicated that they're remixes. They're just the 12-inch versions. You've got Straight Up by Paula Abdul. Where Has All the Love Gone by Yaz. Her most iconic hit, of course, was The Only Way Is Up. Got to Get You Back by Kim Mazel. And Working Overtime by Diana Ross. Nice to have an artist like her on here. Record 2, side 2. You've got Heliom Halib by Capella. You've got People Hold On, Cold Cut featuring Lisa Stansfield. Yes, People Hold On is a great song. Nice to see Lisa Stansfield as well, because around this time her album Affection was going to come out, and that was a big hit, big hit. You have Musical Freedom, Free at Last by Paul Simpson featuring a diva, One Man by Chanel, and the final track being Just Keep Rockin' by Double Trouble and the Rebel MC. So, for me at least, I'd say a good half of these tracks I do recognise, a good half of them I don't. I'd say this is when Now Dance started to get less away from necessarily the mainstream and started going for some more deeper cuts in the dance house genre, which is good because Now Dance 85 and 86 you could argue were very much mainstream pop chart dance hits, whereas now we're starting to explore the genre of dance itself, and that trend would only continue as it went into the 90s. Now, if you allow me a jump cut, well actually before we do that, you've got all the information on here. Nice to see the original Now Music logo featured down there. And this is definitely the third release. We haven't missed any because the barcode there says NOD3, so Now Dance 3. So yeah, who knows why they missed 87 and 88. But if you give me one swift jump cut, let's have a look on the inside. Okay, so here is your inner gatefold. A lot of reds and green colours going around here, but I actually like the colour scheme better when it's meshed like that. So we're going to pan on over to record 1, side 1. And as you can see, you've got the artist here and a little bit of information about them as well. This is pretty common on all the Now albums of the day, pretty much. Nice to see the artist and learn about where these songs placed in the charts. We'll crank it on over to side 2 and work backwards. So yeah, this album, I mean, I'll talk more about whether it's for you or not a bit later, but it's a very mixed one, this. It doesn't feel as concrete of a buy as, say, the first 2 releases were, at least not for me. There's Diana Ross, and panning over to the last one, and then we'll pan up. There's your artist. Now, funnily enough, unlike Now Dance 86, which advertised the first Now Dance release and also advertised the current numbered Now at the time, there is no such advertising for this one here. Now, this came out in 1989, and if it came out in the summer like the last release, this is sort of around the time of Now 15, shall we say, and it could have advertised the other 2 on here as well. I don't know why they do, but it's nice to see that they haven't skimped out on detail. The artwork here is quite trippy, but also really cool, and it's nice to have information about the artists as well. And here, dear viewer, is what the disc looks like. So you've got a white label predominantly this time with red text. Shame again, it's just 2 colours. I wish it would have been more colour, but alas. My disc is a little dusty, but plays beautifully. As always with vinyl, make sure there's no deep scratches. Make sure it's in a playable condition before you buy. So, recommendation time. Should you pick up Now Dance 89? Well, few factors as always. If you like music from that era, the very late 80s, then that's a consideration. But think this time if you like not just the pop stuff, so not just your Bobby Brown or your Fine Young Cannibals, think about the deeper dance cuts of the era when house was starting to come in, all that sort of stuff. If you like that late 80s, early 90s sounding stuff, then Now Dance 89 is definitely a good pickup because you're not only getting those songs, you're essentially getting the extended dance remixes. You don't have to go out and buy the singles. However, if you don't like late 80s music, if you don't like dance music, it's a stay away. If you just like, I'd say, mainstream, like pop hits that are very danceable, maybe stick with the first 2 releases we looked at, so Now Dance 85 and 86, because as I said, I believe this is where they started to go more into the dance genre route, which I think is the better option because it is called Now Dance. We've got the main numbered series for the main pop hits, so it only makes sense that you have an album like this to give the dance stuff its own home. You can find it on secondhand places like eBay. I actually got mine from a charity shop, I think, for about £3. I'd say you don't want to pay any more than £10 for this if it's in like pristine condition, but usually it should only cost you a couple of quid if you're lucky. But as always, check the discs, make sure there's no deep scratches, and you're buying from a trusted seller. But that is all for this instalment of the Now Review. Thank you very much for watching. As usual, please let me know in the comments, do you own Now Dance 89? I believe there's a cassette tape version as well, and possibly a CD version. This is 1989, so maybe there'll be a CD release, but I'm not too sure. But let me know if you own this album in the comments section. Leave a like on this video and share it around with your friends. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next one, I will see you guys next time.
Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Hooks Media, Ben Freeman, Ethan Carberry-Holt, Bruce Danton, The Broken Kitsumanoid, and Francine Salazar, our AMTV staff members.